In Australia, the rabbit is an ecological wrecking ball. Ever since a few dozen were introduced in the 19th century, they have bred relentlessly, stripping vegetation and accelerating soil erosion across the continent. This population diagram illustrates the sheer scale of the problem. Australia's human population hovers around 23 million. They share that landmass with over 200 million rabbits. It is an overwhelming 10-to-1 ratio of destruction. But over the past 30 years, China has taken the opposite approach. They deliberately imported over 4 million rabbits, specifically the Rex breed, to serve as the primary component in an unorthodox ecological experiment. Curious, how does the exact same animal that ravaged an entire continent become a precision engineering tool to save a dying ecosystem? The target for this experiment was the Kubuqi Desert. Locally known as the Sea of Death, this desert was rapidly expanding, consuming the surrounding environment through a process called desertification. This map of the Kubuqi highlights the metric of that destruction. Every single year, the desert buried roughly 500,000 acres of fertile land under a tide of shifting sand. In the mid-20th century, the government tried to fight back with sand control stations and traditional tree planting. But against the sheer volume of these dust storms, those defensive tactics failed to stop the movement of the dunes. Halting a moving ocean of sand required moving past physical walls and engineering a self-sustaining biological machine. The first gear in this machine was planted by local entrepreneur Wang Wenbiao. He organized dry brush into grids and planted willow saplings directly into the sand. Willow roots plunge 300 feet underground to locate water, acting as massive anchors holding dunes in place. The business model relied on harvesting mature trunks for timber, but this requires constant pruning of side shoots, an impossibly expensive task in a remote desert. The entire ecosystem was stuck. Without an automatic, zero-cost way to maintain the trees, the economic model would collapse. This is where the Rex rabbit enters the equation. They were chosen because their natural diet consists primarily of those exact thin willow shoots. Rabbits act as free laborers, naturally pruning shoots so trunks grow thick for harvesting. They produce organic fertilizer, injecting nutrients back into the sand. Their waste drops intact grass seeds, multiplying ground cover. Breeding rapidly, they create an exponentially scaling workforce. Finally, the Rex breed produces a premium, ultra-soft fur. Local farmers harvest and sell it at high margins to the luxury clothing industry. By utilizing the rabbit's natural behavior as a functional gear in a closed-loop system, they turned an environmental problem into a profitable agricultural engine. To scale this up, China integrated the biological machine with a technological one. This is the Chunma Solar Power Plant, a 6,000-acre megastructure made of 5 million panels, arranged in the shape of a galloping horse. By 2022, this facility had generated over 2.3 billion kilowatts of electricity, displacing over 7,000 tons of coal. Beyond energy production, the hardware serves a physical purpose. Slanted solar panels cast deep shade, reducing evaporation and cutting destructive wind speeds by 50%. Directly beneath these arrays, the Rex rabbits continue their work. They live in the shade and graze on the protected grass, fertilizing the soil and keeping ground cover healthy so dust doesn't fly up and block the solar cells. It is a complete biomechanical fusion. A power plant that simultaneously generates clean electricity while actively terraforming the earth beneath it. 3 decades of this engineered cycle have yielded undeniable results. Today, 33% of the Kubuqi Desert, over 6,000 square kilometers, has been reclaimed, replacing dead dunes with stabilized green terrain. Backed by a $400 million government investment, the region now supports over 2,000 farms. People who once fled the encroaching desert are returning to operate a booming localized economy. Which brings us back to the rabbit paradox. In Australia, an invasive species was let loose into an unconstrained natural habitat. In the Kubuqi, the animals are strictly controlled components integrated into a highly designed loop. The Kubuqi model demonstrates that environmental restoration can be tied directly to industrial output. When nature is utilized as a co-engineer, even the Sea of Death can be made productive again.